I am a betting man, and I wager that you need better underwear. Stick around till the end of this video, though you're probably stuck down there already, for essential info on Sheath underwear, the best skivvies in the biz. Hey, before I get started here, please do me a favor. The fact that you are here means you have a stomach for the fight, you have an interest for the betterment of our country and the protection of her people. And I would ask that you go and subscribe to Brittany Page's YouTube channel and engage with her content moving forward. Voices like hers that cover underappreciated and underreported on things are necessary right now. It's not all glitz and glamour and clicky headlines that are important. It's oftentimes the more wonky stuff that impacts directly the lives of people who are marginalized and endangered, especially now. And your help in that would be a big help. So please click below. I'll link below, and I'll keep talking about it because it's important. Let's ask a question. You would think, after the thousands of lies, the piles of lies, the mountains of lies that have been told by Jim Jordan over the course of his illustrious career as a congressperson, that he'd be better at it. Yesterday, he was on CNN with Dana Bash, and she was asking him about, listen, you said the election was stolen in 2020. If that was the case, then why did the Democrats just steal it this time too? And he stammers, and it's almost like he's stunned by the question. He is floundering, trying to come up with an answer. It is both laughable, it's comic, but it's also tragic that Republicans now, this is now a free and fair election. No worries. Oh, it's great. Totally wonderful. Even the evening of the election, Donald Trump was posting on Truth Social about law enforcement has been dispatched, lots of illegal voting taking place, lots of fraud. It's overwhelming. And then as soon as the tide seemed to turn for him, crickets. All kinds of conspiracy theorists were on Twitter making this claim. And as soon as things started being clear that Donald Trump was going to be the winner, or at least really in contention to be the winner, crickets. They were silent. The amounts of adherence to this lie just evaporated. Because it is a lie. It was a conspiracy. It is a conspiracy. Donald Trump lost in 2020. If the Democrats, it's much like the hurricane idiocy with Marjorie Taylor Greene, that the Democrats somehow have a weather control device to impact the election this season. Even though hurricanes are a naturally occurring thing that have happened for hundreds of millions of years on the planet. Billions of years hurricanes have happened. But apparently Democrats are so evil and technologically advanced, we have the technology, but they don't have it. We have the ability to steal elections from Donald Trump in 2020, but we just forgot to in 2024. I mean, all of these questions, they demand an answer. But she doesn't get to the answer because she allows him to run roughshod over her because corporate media is weak, complicit. They're in a partnership with Republicans to have this be the outcome, as far as I'm concerned. Watch this, and then let's talk about three separate points on the other side.
I haven't seen you or your colleagues claiming any election irregularities, no rampant voting fraud this time. It seems to me that Republicans claim voting fraud and election integrity when you lose and not when you win.
No, I mean, again, as I said before, this election, I think, was the greatest political comeback we've ever seen. I mean, he did something that even Teddy Roosevelt couldn't do, for goodness sake. And the country.
But you think it was a free and fair election?
No. This election, you just interviewed the Latino, restaurant owner or a restaurant worker, and he said he was tired of all the woke stuff. This election was real simple. You had back-to-back administrations. We got something we very seldom get in American history, American politics. Back-to-back administrations now running for the top job, and people could do a direct comparison. And they said, we like what we had under President Trump versus.
But last time around,
we like the safe streets versus the record
last
crime.
time around, your leader claimed that there were problems with
secure
fraud.
border versus the open border.
Right, those are policies.
That's what this election was about.
That's totally fair. But last time around, it wasn't so much about the policy differences or the personality differences. There were false claims about election fraud when Donald Trump lost. This time, Donald Trump won, and you think the election was free and fair. Do you see there's a little bit of a...
No, I think the Democrats got to ask, why did we
there?
go from getting 81 million to getting 70 million? What happened to those 10 million people? Maybe they need to... Maybe it's not smart to run an election where you have no vision, no record to run on.
Do you believe
that
the 2024
names?
Do you believe that the 2024 election was free and fair?
I do.
And why was it different from 2020 when he lost? Is that the only difference?
No, there were concerns about 2020 with all the mail-in voting that happened. You know, what Pennsylvania had like 2-point-something million mail-in ballots come in without any signature verification, which was required under Pennsylvania statute. So there were all kinds of concerns with how the 2020 election was carried out. But
there was absolutely
the biggest question Democrats need to be asking: what happened to the 10 million voters that Joe Biden got that didn't come out for Kamala Harris? A bunch of them. President Trump's numbers were right up where they were in 2020, but the Democrats were much lower. I think it's because they had no vision, no record to run on, and they just wanted to call everyone names. Turns out when you tell people, oh, you're fascist, racist, deplorable garbage, they don't like that. And then when you use lawfare to go after their candidate, they don't like that either.
Well,
that's why they came out. So on top of the economy, on top of the price of gas, on top of the inflation, that's why they voted for President Trump.
We're out of time. I just want to say, for the record, that there was no evidence of widespread fraud in 2020. It went through many, many different court cases.
But
and I do think,
lots of concerns with how
the name calling,
was changed in 2020. That's what I was concerned about.
The name calling was very strong on the Republican side of the aisle from the former president, and you know that. So, thank you for being here. Appreciate you going through all of this.
You bet.
First of all, from the middle of the clip or so, when he starts talking about the Latino restaurant worker who said that he's tired of all this woke stuff. Can we dispense with this narrative? Kamala Harris did not run a campaign talking about woke stuff. She didn't make transgender issues a large enough component of her campaign. She didn't back the Palestinian people in their plight with the Israeli government currently conducting a genocide against them. She didn't do enough in that case. She said she was going to have a Republican member of her cabinet. She's a former cop, effectively. She didn't run a woke campaign. I'm seeing Democrats say this. They're parroting the talking points of liar Jim Jordan and liar Donald Trump. It wasn't a woke campaign. Secondly, no record, no vision, and all they wanted to do, Democrats wanted to do, presumably the ones who ran for office, was call names. The guy who licks at the taint of Donald Trump is saying Democrats are the name callers. I'm a name caller, dumb fuck. Kamala Harris, not a name caller. Tim Walz, not a name caller. This guy is a name caller. You fucking rotten-toothed clown. And then let's get to the crux of it here. It seems to me that Republicans claim voting fraud when you lose and not when you win. No, this election was the greatest political comeback. How was it you need to have lost the first time to have a comeback. So I thought he won the first time because there was overwhelming fraud. Jim Jordan, that's what you contend, correct? So how can it be a comeback if indeed he didn't win in 2020? Also, you're not answering the question. Why is it the Democrats didn't overturn the results of this election? If he won in such a landslide in 2020, so much of a landslide that he would have won California if only Jesus the Christ would have been in charge of counting the ballots. If it was that kind of an overwhelming Trump victory in 2020 that the Democrats were able to just fraudulently flip, then why didn't it happen this time? Why? You can't answer it because you're a fumbling, mumbling liar. Not even a good liar, just a feckless goober. More of this from the guy who investigated the China connections of Joe Biden until Joe Biden wasn't the candidate anymore, and then all of a sudden, those investigations just evaporated. How convenient that there was no longer any interest in propping up and helping promote the candidacy of Donald Trump through malfeasance and fraudulent investigations, misappropriation of taxpayer dollars to fund those investigations. Jim Jordan, you fucking idiot. Anyway, more of this. It's going to be very tiring, very exhausting going forward. I would invite you to this conversation. You can comment below. That'll help me algorithmically. That'll help me with YouTube. You can also call the voicemail line, 714-576-4054. And of course, as always, you can email me daily@dollemore.com. Follow me on the social media, these places: Threads, TikTok, Blue Sky, Instagram. I am no longer active on Twitter. I'd love to see you there, though, @Dollemore. Anyway, stick around for a word from today's sponsor, the greatest underwear company the earth has ever known, Sheath Underwear. There are so many unknowns in life. It often feels like a game of chance. Things often turn out differently than expected, despite the best planning or intentions. Interest rates, that fancy bottle of wine you bought, heck, the election. So much feels like a gamble. One thing you do not have to speculate on: your underwear, or mine for that matter. Designed by a U.S. military soldier while in Iraq, a guy who knows something about steaks, Sheath Underwear's dual pouch system ensures your package won't stick to your leg, while also giving everything some space by separating your gambler from his dice. You see what I'm doing here? Thanks to this testicular tech, Sheath has successfully been protecting your most valuable assets for over 10 years. They are recommended by multiple doctors and urologists and have over 20,000 five-star reviews from customers like me. I'm one of those 20,000 reviews. My sheaths have been with me through thick and thin, both before I was a bit heavier than I am now, and now as the leaner version of me. Trademark or copyright that. I love these things. I think that's pretty clear. So no more garment gambling, all right? Head to sheathunderwear.com/Dollemore to score 20% off. You don't need to be a high roller. You see the theme here, the gambling and the dice and the... It's good, right? You don't have to be a high roller to have unbeatable underwear. My go-tos are the Airflow Mesh, but Sheath has tons of excellent styles and designs. All sheaths are backed by a 2-year warranty and will land on your doorstep near instantly thanks to blindingly fast shipping, which is free in the United States on orders over $75. Also, your purchase actually does affect positive change, and this is very important. Sheath supports multiple charities like Socks for Soldiers and Doctors Without Borders, so you're winning for the world too when you buy from Sheath. Don't roll the dice on your drawers. Score 20% off right now when you head to sheathunderwear.com/Dollemore. Real change starts with you and, believe it or not, your package. Upgrade your undergarments to Sheath.